You don't have any time. You're so busy. You have a million things to do. In fact, you might be the busiest person in the entire world and there's absolutely nothing at all that you can do about it. Listen, I hear some version of this story pretty much every single day. Whether it's with the students I work with inside my private practice or students inside School Habits University, I hear it all the time. I'm too busy. I don't have time to do this, that, and the other thing. I bombed the test because I didn't have time to study. I didn't submit the assignment because I didn't have time to work on it. I did a junky job on the project because this week was just so bananas that I ran out of time. So listen, as a former I have no time junkie who has since recovered, I do know that when you feel like you're the busiest person in the entire world and that you have no time, you are thoroughly convinced that that is reality. But I'm coming at you today hoping that you are open-minded to hearing me out so that I can convince you otherwise. I have been doing what I've been doing a long time. I've been a study skills and executive function coach, teaching people how to do school for over 20 years. And if there is one thing that I know, it's that the I don't have time story is 100% wrong 99% of the time. Now, I'm going to explain what's really going on when you swear you're so busy and then you don't have any time so that you can break out of that story and the victim mentality that it crushes you with. Then I'm gonna give you some strategies so that you can get your time back. Sound like a plan? Hi, I'm Katie Azevedo of schoolhabits.com. As I said, I'm a study skills and executive function coach who specializes in ADHD, and I teach students and professionals strategies to learn and work smarter. You can find me here on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, on my Learn and Work Smarter podcast, and of course, the ultimate place to hang out with me is inside School Habits University. All of that stuff is linked below. Now, as promised, let me clarify what's really going on when you swear to yourself that all of the issues you're having in school, the bad grades, the stress, the low quality work, the drama, are related to the false belief that you have no time. So first things first, we need to be so very clear on this. Time is math. It is not a feeling, okay? And so the very first thing we have to do here is to do some math. Because when students tell me like, I feel so busy, I'm like, busy isn't a feeling. Happy, sad, angry, mad, like those are feelings. Busy isn't a feeling. You might feel stressed, you might feel overwhelmed, you might feel 1,000 different true feelings at once, and that's okay, but busy is not a human emotion. So what are you really saying when you say, I feel busy? What you're really saying is, I have no idea where my time is going and I'm not sure if I am working on the right things. That's it. And some of you listening might get defensive and say like, no, I'm actually really busy. And I'm gonna address that in a second, but if you do the math here, there are 24 hours in a day. And at least 8 of those hours are maybe spent sleeping. Probably about 2 hours are spent eating. Maybe an hour is spent working out. Maybe 2 hours are spent doing your after school activities or whatever it is that you do. Between 3 and 6 hours are spent in classes. That leaves what, like 5 hours? That's not no time. When you do the math like this, you start creating an accurate picture of how much time you actually have in a day. But let me actually do the math with you. Let's say that you're in college and you have 6 hours of class a day. You also have 2 hours of practice a day and you have a part-time job on campus for 3 hours. You go to bed at a reasonable hour. You have some meals. And what we have left is an accurate mathematical representation of time in your day that is not pre-scheduled to something else. In this open space here is time that you have available to spend on the things that need attention, whether that's schoolwork or studying, whatever it is. Again, that's not no time. That is a whole chunk of time. Now let me talk for a sec to those who are like, no, I literally have no time, because there may be a scenario in which that is true and I have to face that, right? Let's say that you're in class every single day from 8 to 3, and then you have practice from 3:30 to 5:30, and then you eat dinner. You immediately go to your part-time job until 9, and then you come home and you need to shower. It's already 10:15 and you need to be in bed by 11 in order to get your biological needs met. Well, in that case, we're looking at a legitimate situation where you do not have time to work on your work and study the things. There is only one solution here. Back off your part-time job or quit it altogether. Or maybe drop a class or quit the sports team. Because we can't invent time. We cannot make more of it. That side of the equation, we can't play with. What you do have control over are the activities that you're choosing to do, and doing less of them is your only option. As I said at the top of this video, I have no time is 100% wrong in 99% of the cases. And so this is that 1%. In the other 99% of situations where you swear you have no time, I'm still arguing that that is not exactly true. What I just showed you on the screen here is doing a version of a time inventory. I teach a full-time inventory inside School Habits University that gets you a super accurate assessment of like what you're even spending your time on. Is it the right things? Are you involved in enough of each category? Too much of each category? things like that. Now, for the sake of this video, I want you to look at an average week. Do this in a digital calendar. You can do it on paper. I have a free time block planner for a week at a time in the description box. I want you to map out all of the things you have over the course of 1 week. And these are things that are non-movable objects. We're talking classes, practices, rehearsals, your job, appointments, meals, your average bedtime. Don't forget transportation time. Doing this is a necessary first step here, okay? You have to see how many hours in your day are already accounted for so that we can see what's remaining. And let me tell you, when I have people do this inside School Habits University, or if they're private clients of mine, almost every single time, they are completely shocked by what they see. And they get defensive because in 99% of the cases, the amount of free time or available time that's revealed they have makes them confront the reality that they do indeed have time. It just feels like they don't. But remember, time is not a feeling. We have established that. And when you see the numbers right there, the math, you have to face the truth that you've been wasting your time the whole time. And so it's my guess that that's gonna happen to you too. If you authentically and honestly do this exercise, I'm asking you to do, again, the free weekly planner that I have in the description box. You can do that. You can do it on a piece of paper. You can do it in a digital calendar. Like, I don't care. But please do it, because this is the only way you're gonna confront the reality that you do have time and that swearing you don't is a false narrative. So what do we do with this information? So like, what comes next? You are bold enough to handle the truth because it's math and it's looking at you in the face. Now what? A couple different things. First, once you know how much time you really have available to study and work, that's what you should be using that time for. If you feel like you have no time to study, but you're looking at all of these blank chunks of time in your days, like, why are you not studying then? If you feel like you didn't have time to work on your project, but you're looking at the calendar you made and you realize, like, wait a minute, I actually had 90 minutes available pretty much every single day this week. Why were you not working on your project then? Like, these are real questions. And when you ask yourself these questions and you honestly answer them, what's revealed is the reason that you feel like you have no time. If you had a 90-minute block in your day to work on your project or to study, but you did not do that, something else is going wrong. Now listen, I have been making YouTube videos here for 10 years. I have worked with thousands of students one-on-one in my private practice, so please know I have dedicated my entire life to students. Well, I'm more than 20, so a whole portion of my life to students. What I am about to say comes from a place of a lot of experience and a lot of compassion for what you're feeling. So don't hate me when I say this, but the reality is, if you had time to work on something that you needed to do, and you did not work on that something that you needed to do, that was your choice. And you can't blame a busy schedule. Maybe you have trouble focusing. Okay, then you have to address that. Why do you have trouble focusing? Do you have ADHD? Okay, well then use strategies to support your focus if you have ADHD. I will absolutely not accept I have ADHD as a reason why you can't get things done. Millions of people with ADHD are highly productive and get things done. I have a master's degree in special education with an expertise in ADHD. So no, I am not telling you to focus more or to focus harder biologically and neurologically. That's impossible. If anyone ever tells you that, like, go tell them to, I'm trying to think of a nice way. Tell them to shush. That's not what I'm saying. But people with ADHD, which is like 70% of my students, can absolutely use strategies to improve how much they can focus and get done in a set period of time. You can use body doubling, you can use timers, you can use accountability, you can use rewards. If you're not using any or all of those strategies and you're still complaining that you can't focus, like, I don't want to hear it. Again, I am saying this with love. Now, another possibility is that you genuinely believe that you're doing work during that time, but you're not. So for example, you sit down to study for 90 minutes, which I don't recommend you do. I would cap it at 45 minutes with a little break in between and then maybe like another 30 minutes, okay? That's a strategy you could do right there. But if, say, you are studying for 90 minutes, well, you thought you were, but you had a little camera on you for the whole time, I guarantee that most of that time would be spent doing something other than studying with active recall study methods. Probably most of that time touching your phone in one way or another, looking at the easy stuff that doesn't need to be studied, maybe using passive study methods like rereading your notes and passively rewatching videos, none of which work. But again, probably most of that time would be spent just little bops on your phone, just checking things. If you were honest and watched footage of what you were doing during that 90 minutes, again, I swear it would be revealed to you what you were actually doing during that time. I work with students who have like 4-hour blocks in the day. Sometimes a college schedule will create that, or they've got these big chunks of time and they'll come home from class and they'll fall asleep watching a TV show and they'll wake up and at the end of the day, they're like, well, I had no time. I am so busy. False. That is so completely not true. You had time, but you chose to pick up a remote control or however you watch TV. I don't even watch TV. And sit down and stare at a screen. You felt yourself getting tired and you still chose to sit there until you fell asleep. Like, you could have made a different choice. It was all a choice. Again, I know this might be really hard to hear, but that is what you need to hear. My point is that after doing the activity inventory and revealing how much time you really do have to study and to do your homework, if you're choosing not to work on the right things in those open pockets of time, that is not a time issue. That's a choice issue, a focus issue, an emotional regulation issue. Maybe you struggle with impulse control. Like, yeah, of course you want to watch a movie rather than study for chem. Like, who doesn't, right? You can choose to do that, but then you don't get to use the excuse of I had no time. Because here's what the real story is. I had a chem test to study for, and I had time to study for it. But instead, I chose to scroll on my phone and then watch a movie and fall asleep, and so I got a bad grade. That's the real story. It's not as glamorous, it hurts a little more, but facing that reality is the only way that you're ever gonna get the real facts, which is what's required to make a change. Now, I said at the top of this video, there are two situations that will result from you mapping out a typical week. Number one, you'll realize that the math doesn't really add up and you do not actually have time to complete what you need to complete. And if that's the situation, then you have one option, which is to cut back on your obligations. You might not like that, but the good news is there is a solution to your situation. Do fewer things. Or number two, you see that you do indeed have sufficient time in your week to get done what you need to get done, but you're choosing to do other things instead. But there's also a solution there too. Like, none of this is dire and tragic. There's solutions to all of this. The solution is make better choices. Oh man, do I sound like a mother? I am a mother. But anyways, maybe you need to change up your study location or go someplace that inspires you a little bit more, a cafe, a campus building that you haven't been to before, the library maybe. Maybe you need to get better at your task management system, because like, this is important. If you don't know exactly what you should be working on in your 90-minute block, for example, if you don't have clarity on what your assignments are and what your due dates are, you know, it's gonna be really hard to sit down and do the things because you don't even know what you're doing. A solution there is to dial in your task management system and your time management system. If you're in middle school or higher, you should absolutely be managing your tasks outside your learning management system. So of course, you're gonna end up feeling overwhelmed and dramatic and feeling like you have no time. Those two things, task management and time management, have to be locked and loaded in place in order for you to be able to know what you're doing in your available time. If you need help setting those up, join me inside School Habits University, where we do just that. Now, I mentioned this before, but maybe you need to start using body doubling. That can be a helpful motivational strategy and a focus strategy if you have ADHD or even if you don't. The important thing with body doubling is that you choose the right people to body double with. Maybe you can start using different timing ratios. I have a video that I will link below. I forget the name of it. Oh my gosh, I should have looked at that. It's like 3 Pomodoro alternatives or Pomodoro alternatives to the Pomodoro Pomodoro alternatives, I think it is, but you might have heard of the Pomodoro technique, but in that video, I share 3 alternatives that might work better for some people. Again, if you're not using every strategy under the sun to use your available time well, then you don't earn the right to say you're too busy. I say that with love. All right, my friends, I know that this was a little bit of a tough love video, but if you clicked on it, obviously something about the title resonated. So you're already in a good situation knowing that something needs to change. Facing reality is the first step in making the changes that make us better. If you're overwhelmed by all the steps and you want me to walk you through it with live coaching, join me inside School Habits University, where I've got your back. That is linked below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching.